Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. It's the 12 o'clock here in Wisconsin. So I do appreciate everybody that's chimed in, said they wanted to see how I do my Great Lakes Hockey League and run it. I'm excited to actually share it with you. But just to give you a little background on my experience with any kind of card and dice playing. So I'm 53. I would say back when I was 13 or 14. Now, mind you, I had no clue that there was any kind of games, sports games like this out. Um, so back when I was in my early teens, I collected baseball cards, Topps baseball cards, and I believe I had at the time the 86 season going. And what I would do is, just to show you, I really had no clue what I was dealing with. I had the Mark McGuire rookies, I had the Barry Bonds, stuff like that. Things that were worth money. But I would put them all together in a team. I would take these thick rubber bands and band them together as a team. So I had no siblings, and so I'm in my room one day, and I was thinking, what can I do? I'm looking at my cards. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna have a little tournament. And so I put all the American League teams together, all the National League team cards in a pile on my bed together. And then what I would do is start with the American League teams, and I would just randomly, mix them up, and I'd grab two stacks of cards, not looking at them, and I'd put them next to each other. And I'm like, okay, this is, I was going to do a tournament to see who went to the World Series. I had some dice, and what I would do is take two dice and I would throw them against my wall. They would come back and land on the bed. And the dice that were closer to, whatever set of cards, that was the score. And obviously, if it was a tie, I'd throw it again. But that's how I did that. And then, I'd advance the teams like that, and then I did with the National League, and then that's how I ended up playing with dice and cards back then. Again, I had no idea there were games like this. So going back about, I'd say at least, about 10 years ago, I had a friend at work who introduced me to STRAT-O-MATIC baseball. Again, I didn't know these things existed. Now, granted, I do recall seeing STRAT-O-MATIC, but I never looked into it. So I didn't know it involved rolling dice, and you had columns. You had to match up numbers to see what happened. So he introduced me to that, and I really enjoyed it. We were taking turns. We'd split the teams up, and we'd roll for them and play with them. And I'd come back to work, give him the set, and he would keep it for about a week and play. And that's how we did that. I think that lasted. I think we did that for a couple months, and like everything, life happens. Forgot about it, got put away. Okay, so now let's go back to last year. I'd say, in the fall, I started looking up Strat. I thought about it. I'm like, let me see if there's anything on Facebook and in my community where they have STRAT-O-MATIC, meetups or anything like that. It'd be pretty interesting to get involved again. Well, that led to, I couldn't find any STRAT-O-MATIC, but it led to me finding the 1984 Cole replay on Facebook. So I found that, looked it up, talked to Kevin, found out how that all worked out, and I decided to participate in that. So I got the PC baseball replay, and I got the 84 season, and part of that, that's where it started. But right then, I still had no idea there were all these different sports games out here. And doing some research and talking to people and finding these groups, I was blown away that there was a game for a game for every sport there was. So that's my little history on how I came to finding out about this community and being a part of it. And I got to tell you, I love it. The people here are great. It's just awesome, to be able to play these games and have people with the same mindset that you can actually talk about them and enjoy it. So now I got that out of the way. Let me tell you how I even came about wanting to start this Great Lakes Hockey League. I had a couple inspirations, and it all came from the. No, not that. Hold on, I got some windows open up here. Let me close that out. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. Okay. So, this is my big inspiration right here. The Dyson Card Tabletop Sports Gamers and Designers Facebook group. I mean, this like, right, stuff like this. Before I even started playing or anything, I'd see Mr. Mayo posting his stats, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I started reading. It's One Roll Soccer, homebrew game by Casey London, and I'm like, wow, this is the kind of stuff that I'm really into. Fictional. You make up your own teams, and you get standings and stuff like that. So, I would see him post a lot of those, and Casey post his, and I just got really interested in it. So I went ahead and went to the file section. I got the games. So far, I've only done the hockey. I haven't even started the baseball. I haven't done any soccer yet. And believe me, I've got them all downloaded. But I'm just really into this hockey right now. So, okay, enough of that, guys. let me get on to showing you how I operate my hockey league. I just want to share how I even got into this. Okay, so let me minimize this. Okay, so this is where I enter everything after I roll. So I have my drop downs here. Home teams this column. The away team is this column. Over here is the schedule for the season. Okay, season 2, and I've got it all broken down into weeks. So I'm about to start my 3rd week. What I'll do is highlight in yellow the winning team. The reason I do that is I kind of want to go back throughout the seasons and just see who had the most wins, as far as, was it the home teams or was it the away teams? Just something else I can throw, build a stat out. So as I'm obviously when I'm playing, I don't use the ball roller. I use my actual dice. But I have the chart here that I can move up and down as I'm going, as I need to. And so that's what I'll do. Obviously use the chart, get the score, put the score here, and then I'll put down the goalies here. Now what you're seeing in the pink, I believe that's pink, these are rookies. Okay, so that's why they're highlighted that color. These are rookie goalies. So I go next, I have the goal log. So this is the game log. This is my entry where all the information gets put in. I have the goal log, and this is a running goal of who scores. Okay, and I'll go into how I determine what player scores here in a second. But you have right here the category is which game, as far as basically what week, and then I'll have the teams, the players, again the rookies here, and what that does, that goes over here to team rosters. I have my teams, the divisions, the coaches, the players, if they're rookies, if they're peak or veterans, their positions, their jersey numbers. That's just some AI brought up, and I'm like, well, cool. Now this line number. Okay, this is how I determine what player gets credit for the score. And again, I'll show you that when I bring up the dice, how I look at that. What year they're in. So obviously if they're rookie, they're year 1. This is season 2, so I started everybody out last year as, the first year. I can look at it like that's the year the league was formed. They came over from some other leagues or however they got here, but this is their first year in this league. So you got first year or second year. Their career goals. So I had AI help me out because I didn't keep track of last season's. And what I did was I gave him last season's scores from every game and gave him the dice configuration that I'm using. And AI supposedly rolled dice and everything, and they came up with this. So last year, Jarvinian had the most goals with 42, so that's the season record right now. That's why he has a star there, and a gold background. That just lets me know he's the league leader in as far as season. So what happens is when I go to the goal log and I enter these players' names in, it adds it to their career goals. So you'll see some haven't scored yet. Some have ones and twos. Obviously, these big numbers were from last season. Okay. Then over here we have the goalies. I keep track of the shutouts. Again, in pink, these are the rookie goalies. So at the end of the season, I want to see who had the most shutouts. Just another stat category that I'm keeping. Makes it more interesting for me. Then we have the standings. Now the standings, it's not formulated to auto-populate in order, which is fine. That's fine. I don't mind that because I'll just look at the points, and if there's any ties, I'll go by the goal differentials for the playoffs. Then we have career stats. So this is this year, starting this year. It keeps a tally of all the players' stats, goals. Archive. This is last year's. And then I'll keep track of this year's finals and then, continue on. Over here, I have awards. So this is what AI, I don't know if these are real awards in hockey or not, but AI gave them to me. And, like last year's league leader for goals. The top goalie had 11 wins. Finals MVP. And it threw out this stuff, which is cool. Then what I have is legacy data. Basically, it's last year's goals. Then I have the playoffs. So these will be auto filled in. I got to see why that's got that error, but these will be auto filled in, and then once those are filled in, I play them based on the numbers here will depict on who goes over here, and same thing goes over here. Off-season tracking league. Just keep track of how the teams improved or faltered, that kind of stuff. So again, I'll have next year's here compared to this year's or this season's, and I'll keep going down like that. Then I have league history. So here I keep track of the champions. Obviously here the seasons, what year it was, who the champion was, the runner-ups, who had the best record at that year, and then I'm going to post their logo here as the champions, sort of like a banner hanging type deal, and I'll continue that on. And I have a schedule. So I had last year's schedule, this year's schedule, and obviously I'll keep going down for every season, and I just have AI generate that for me. And then over here I just have the teams. This is the beginning. I kept last year's stats here, scores, and that's what I'll do with this year's. I'll title it 27. I'll put their scores down here. I'm probably going to make another sheet just to keep history of the scores. I wanted to bring this over here because obviously when I come over to the game log, I have to erase all this and start over. I guess technically I don't have to. I could keep running it down, and I didn't consider that. But I just don't want this to keep going. I would rather just erase it and start over. So that's basically what I do. Obviously, I put the new schedule down, keep track like that, and that's my pretty much my back office as far as this hockey league is going. It's a lot to. I mean, it's not a lot of work because really all I'm doing is I'll play the games and then I'll enter the players, stuff like that. So okay, let me I'll play a couple games because this video's been pretty long already. I'll just do a couple games for you guys, show you how I do it. Give me 1 second here. Let me bring up this dice if I can find it. Okay, dice roll, ball roller. Okay, so I've got the dice here, and like I said, when I'm playing, I use real dice. But since I'm showing, obviously making a video here, I'm going to show you how this works. So these two dice here I use for the score: home team, away team. Obviously, you roll it, and then you're going to compare on the chart. This here is for the player. I have 3 lines, and like in hockey, line 1, line 2, line 3. This is the line, and this is the player's row. So I have 1 through 3, 4 through 6, 7 through 9 to determine who's going to get that goal. And if you look on team rosters here, it's right here. So in this case, this would be a line 3 and a 1 through 4. So this guy here, Gauthier, would have got that goal if that's what was rolled. This is for my tiebreakers. So in the event that the score ends up a tie off the chart, then I don't have to re-roll any of this. I'll just look down here and see what team, the home team or the away team, had the bigger roll, and that's who's going to get that extra goal. So yeah, so obviously when I'm playing with my dice, I do have to re-roll the dice to see who gets it. But this ball roller is actually really nice. I used it for a couple different games, my baseball games. I've used it for a couple football games. So it's really nice to have. Okay, enough chit chat about that. Let me get on here. Let me keep it moving. So we have week 3 starting. We have Sudbury versus Toledo. So I'm going to go here, put in Sudbury, and I'm going to put in Toledo here. Then, obviously I have my cards. This is another feature that I like to use. It's the PDF Gear app or program. So let's see, I need Sudbury, and I'm going to show you why I love this program. This one feature is really why I keep it. Alright, Sudbury or Toledo, whoever comes up first. Alright, Sudbury. Let me make this bigger. Okay, so I take the screenshot here. Do that. As you can see, it got cut off in my scanner. And then I hit done. It brings it up over here. Now I have to open this file again one more time because you can't do another screenshot or it'll override the previous one. So what I'll do is minimize this window. Now I got Sudbury, right? And Toledo. And I'm just doing this so you can see what I'm looking at while I'm playing here. Done. Okay. Minimize that. Alright, we have the 2 teams here. All right, so Sudbury. So we're gonna roll here. All right, 4-3. Another thing I've changed from what I did last season, the home advantage. The only time I use that, the only time now, is if the home team either has a D or F in either of these categories. They will get the home advantage. C's or above, nobody gets an advantage. So Sudbury, it's 4-3. So Sudbury is, if I look at that again, a C to a B. So C to a B is a C. They rolled a 4. What did I say? That was C to a B is a C. Okay, they rolled a 4, so they're going to get 3. And then Toledo, they're a D to a B. D to a B. So D to a B is a D. And they rolled a 3, 1. So they got